I mean, I think your passion and whatever it is, it could be like a sport, a job, a hobby, whatever you're doing that you're really passionate is like the highlight of your day. If that is something that you actually can do as a profession, I think this is a dream, actually.
Podcast, where we aim to highlight inspiring people doing amazing things in the Swim Strong family and in the greater swim community. All right, I'm here with Coach Tatiana Lemos de Lima from Wave Aquatics out in Seattle, and what a story this woman has. But before we get to that, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What is your walkout song?
That's an easy one for me. Everlong, Foo Fighters.
Oh, Foo Fighters. That's the first Foo Fighters song we've gotten on here. That's good. All right. How about your favorite pool you've ever swam at?
I have to go with the Beijing Olympics. The water cube, that was just spectacular. From inside, from outside. I mean, the whole experience, all of that.
Amazing. How about favorite pool to coach at?
Wow, that's a good one. I like the outdoor pools, to be honest. So all the outdoor pools that I can be coaching, I will kind of pick any of those, especially if it's in the summer.
Yeah, just being outside is amazing. How about your favorite movie of all time?
I will go with the series Back to the Future.
Ooh, good. How about, okay, if you were not a swimmer, what sport would you have done? And then I have a follow-up to that too.
I think I would go to the track and field.
Track and field, okay. And if you were not a swim coach now, what career path would you be doing?
Probably, I'll be working with sports for sure. So this is my passion, sports in general. So I'll definitely look for something that I could be contributing for the sports in some way. Maybe I'll be like your Brian or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, sports science programming. You'd be great at it, I'm sure. And last but not least, what's your favorite thing about Swim Strong Dryland?
Well, two things. I think the connection that I can do with like you and the staff and even the other coaches that I had the opportunity to meet either at the swim camp or on a call, right, on a Zoom call. And the commitments. I think the way Swim Strong Dryland staff is committed with what they're doing, that to me is just like an inspiration.
Here's a quick word from our sponsorship partners at Swim Strong Dryland. Attention all high school and club swimmers and divers. Are you ready to take your talents to the next level and dive into the collegiate scene? Look no further than ACC Recruiting, your premier destination for college swimming and diving recruitment education. At ACC Recruiting, we specialize in connecting student athletes with the perfect collegiate programs that match their skills and academic aspirations. Our experienced team will guide you through the recruitment process, providing personalized support every stroke of the way. Don't let your dreams sink. Visit ACC Recruiting today and make a splash in your future. Dive into success with ACC Recruiting, where champions are born. Visit our website now or call us at 314-518-8844. That's 314-518-8844. ACC Recruiting, your gateway to collegiate swimming and diving excellence. Resistance bands are a must-have for Dryland. Elite Athlete Power Band kits are designed to give you a cost-effective way to improve performance and reduce the risk of injury. These high-quality kits last longer and are versatile enough to provide total body workouts anywhere, anytime. The levels of resistance are ideal for progressing youth athletes without weight increases that are too large. Go to the link provided on the Swim Strong Dryland website, click on the Training tab, and search Equipment Suggestion Lists, and get your Elite Athlete Resistance bands today. Well, thank you. We appreciate that a lot. And the feeling is mutual. We are blessed to get to work with you and with Wave Aquatics. We're always inspired by the things that you guys are doing. And in particular, you bringing you on this podcast, you have just such an amazing story. You're doing so many things for athletes, both in and out of the water, which I want to dive into. But and for people who don't know, Tatiana was an Olympian, a South American record holder, swam for Brazil, fantastic sprint freestyler. But what was your beginnings like, Tatiana? How did you get into swimming? Tell us a little bit about your journey, just finding the sport of swimming, finding your love for the sport, and taking it to the levels that you did.
Yeah, sure. So I would say my swimming career started because it was like a life skill, like a survival life skill, right? I was living in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And then we lived in a place that we have like 2 beaches super close to our house. And then like literally we're walking and we were there. And then my sister and I, we wanted to be there all the time. So my dad would take us on the weekends or like when we have free time. But then we got a little bit older and then we want to go by ourselves. And then you're like, no, you can't because you don't know how to swim yet. But you want to be in the water all the time. Like I remember me, I want to ask him, can we go to the water? Can we go to the water? So that's how everything started. It was like, okay, so we live in a place that there's some dangers around. So let's just like learn how to swim. So eventually you can be by yourself in the ocean, right? And then that's how we started. So we had like my father is from army. So we are literally living like in a like how can I say that? It's like a place where like all the army people live.
I don't know the word for it either. I would help you, except I don't know the word either. So, but yeah, I understand. Sure.
So they have like school inside over there. They had like like they had like places that you can do sports. So I joined the swim team over there. It was like literally like a learning to swim thing. And then I just kept swimming, my sister and I, and then we learned the skills and all of that. And then there was a swim meet, like a tiny swim, like it was a dual meet that happened on that when we were learning to swim. And then there was like another big team from Rio that was invited to that place. And then my sister beat the best girl from the other team.
Oh, wow.
So the coach from the other team, it was a club, it's a football club in Brazil. They invited my sister to join their team. And then my father was like, well, if she's going, you're going too, right? And then my sister went and I went to the other team with her. She's older than me. So I did like the trial over there. And then after like 2 days, the coach because I was on like a pre-team thing. Yeah. So just like more like a super short, more like learning skills. And then the coach saw me and said, no, I want to move you to the group that is like more your age. And then I moved to that. And then long story short, my sister quit swimming at some point when she was a teenager. And I swam my whole life.
Yeah. What was it about swimming that you loved? Like, why did you stick with it? I mean, you said your older sister quit swimming. How come you didn't follow in her footsteps? What kept you in the sport and made you love it?
I don't know. I think I always loved the water, for sure. The connection with the water. I don't know how to explain, but I think I always felt good there. And I don't know, it's just something that I always kind of really enjoyed doing. And I always like to see like my progress, like, am I getting better on this? Or I always like to push myself and try to get better and all of this. But there is an episode that happened actually. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be like, I want to be an Olympic athlete. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a pro. This is what I want to do for life. Yeah. And that episode is when I was watching a Brazilian swimmer, Gustavo Borges. So he went to Barcelona 1992, and then he went to Atlanta 1996, and then he went to Sydney 2000. So he went to 3 Olympics. Barcelona, he got his first medal. He was silver. It was Alex Popov, and then he was second. And then it was a French guy. I don't remember the name right now. So I watched that race on TV, right? And I remember I was sitting there, me and my dad were on the couch watching that. And when I saw that, I was already swimming at the time. I was like training, but I was still like super young. But when I saw that, something clicked in my mind. I was like, this is what I want.
That's cool.
And I don't know how to explain that, but since that day, everything I did, even if I didn't know that at the time, but everything I did, it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be like, I want to have that path, you know? And so that definitely was when I kind of knew that I want to be an athlete. That's what I want to do for life. That would be my job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty cool story. And it's also even cooler thinking down the road, because you, like Gustavo was for you, I'm sure you were for many other people when you were setting records and swimming for Brazil and inspiring people around the entire country and world. Have you ever thought about that? Like just how the people you looked up to, maybe you were that for. Did you feel that when you were an Olympian? Like, did you realize that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being successful? And how did you handle that? Just curious around that experience.
Yeah, so now is way easier to look back and see. So now I can see things that I couldn't see while I was still like, you know, in the grind and just kind of trying to reach the goals, and because you're so focused on that, right?
Yeah.
So, but yes, you know, you have some responsibility for sure. But I think like in my mind, I was always like, I can always do more. I can always like reach something else, you know, like can always be better. So I think it was more like, oh, yes, I have this responsibility. And like, I had some people telling me you are inspiration, that kind of stuff, like younger kids, or even like people that start to compete with you, right? Because let's say you're a little bit older, and then like I had that happen to me. There was like a few girls like, oh, they're so fast, and then suddenly you're competing with them, right? And then so I know that all of this happened, but I never kind of, to be honest, I never thought about that. Like, I'm doing this because I want to inspire other people. But I know that happens. So I always try to kind of be mindful of this, but that was not like the main thing, you know?
Yeah. It was just kind of a byproduct of being really successful. People look up to you naturally, and then you start to realize it more and more. And then looking back, would you say that's one of like the coolest things that you remember, or is it more of just like the moments and the people along the way? I'm sure there's so many different things you remember, but do you value that more now as you look back and you're like, wow, like the impact of inspiring people is so cool?
Totally, 100%. Sometimes well, first of all, the friends that I made with swimming, this is priceless. Right? Like I have many friends that I talk to today, like we're super close, super connected, and they're all from swimming. We swim together in like club swim and then national team. And so that's like one of the best things that happened to me with the sport. It was like meeting these people and still being connected with them until today. But one time I was talking to one of these friends, and she was like, we take for some of the things we take for granted, not for granted actually, but some of the things for us are natural and easy. But when we talk to other people, like, oh, this is obvious for me, and it's not for other people at all.
Yeah.
Right? And then I started to think more about this, like something that for me is natural. It was natural as an athlete. It's not natural for many other people. So I need to talk more about that. Right. Yeah. So that's how I can actually share with people like my experience and letting them know like, yeah, you can figure that out. Right. So I think that ability to like, now I can kind of look back and kind of see that better, like, wow, that was so natural for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I learned somehow. I don't even remember. Right. But it's not for other people. So other people will see us literally like, and like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just did.
It was just natural for you.
Yeah. But then when you start thinking about this, I realized that, yeah, there's so many things that I could actually talk and share with people that can help them and inspire them.
And you talked about the friendships being priceless. It's making me wonder, so someone who's really done what every kid dreams about in the sport of swimming, what would you say the biggest lesson, you looking back on your time as an athlete, what's the biggest life lesson you've taken away from the sport that's never left you, right? It didn't just stay in the pool.
I think the biggest life lesson would be you really need to be passionate about what you do. I mean, I think your passion, and whatever it is, it could be like a sport, a job, a hobby, whatever you're doing that you're really passionate, that will be just like, is like the highlight of your day, right? And then if you can, if that is something that you actually can do as a profession, I think this is a dream actually, right? But I think the passion, like learning, like in my case, I think I'm very blessed that I discovered my passion in a very young age. And I was blessed that I could kind of just do that.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm very grateful for that too, because, and then all the things that came with that, right? My friends, like I had the opportunity to travel the whole world with swimming, right? Like, and meet so many places and have so many experiences, like swimming, racing, or with like culture wise, like I moved to another country because of swimming,
Yeah.
right? So I think there is like, but I think all of that happened because of the passion. Like
Good.
I never thought that I was missing something in life. So I know some athletes, they think they're doing this, but they're missing something in life. And I never had that feeling. I was like, no, I'm not missing anything. This is exactly what I want.
That's so good. Actually, it was Bruno who also mentioned that in a previous podcast that if you see sacrifices as a sacrifice, he's like, then the sport may not be for you. And you kind of just said the same thing in a different way. That's super interesting. That you didn't feel like you were missing anything, but you were still making a lot of sacrifices. You don't get to where you're getting without making sacrifices, but you just didn't view them that way because you were passionate about it. So it's fun to see like some of the connections between some of the greatest minds in the sport, and that you just, this is what I love to do, and all the things that people think are crazy. It's just what I do, and it's why would I not do that? I want to be great. I love what I'm doing, and can you tell me a little bit about the Olympic mindset? I think people get this wrong a lot, that Olympic athletes are these special creatures who are like mystical, beings that you can't, I think people have a very unrealistic view of what it takes to be an Olympian on both sides, in terms of like, oh yeah, I can just do that and it's not that hard. And then the people who think, oh, I could never attain that. Can you give people a look inside? Like, what do you think separates the mindset of an Olympic level swimmer who's setting national records or winning medals or whatever, representing your country, and everybody else? Like, is this something you talked about in like your circles of like, this is what makes us different? And how can people harness that?
Well, I think there's a lot of things, right? I mean, there's the talent, of course, right? The talent to do things. But I think that for the mindset part, I think how much do you want something, and you talk a lot about that too. Like, so like to me, commitment, like the commitment you have with something that you want to achieve, I think this is huge, and when you look like for people that are actually committed with their goals in sport, in life, in any actually area of your life, they will do whatever they need to do, right? They will do what they need and what they can to achieve that. So I think when you have that and you add, and then like I said, is a combination, right? But you add that and you add the passion. So suddenly like, yeah, it is hard. I'm still doing a lot of sacrifices. But being committed to your goal and having that goal clear, I think it opens a lot of like opportunities actually, because you're like always looking for what can I do to achieve this? And then when you achieve that thing, it's like, okay, so what is next? What can I do to achieve next? And then you kind of keep going. It's like a ongoing process of developing and getting better, and you don't just settle like, oh yeah, I broke the national record one time. Good. Now I'm going to enjoy my life. Like, no, how many times can I do that? I want to go faster than that, right?
Yes.
So I would say, I think the commitment, the discipline is such a hard thing for a lot of people, right? They want to do when it's comfortable. Oh, today is raining. I train outdoors. I don't want to go because it's raining, or my practice is too early, or there's like always something, right? Or and I think the discipline of you just do what you need to do. And I read something on the other day that I really liked, because I really believe in that. So you have to do the right things for a long period of time. So it's doing the right thing for 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, lots of seasons, right? So I had this experience one time when I qualified for my first Olympic Games. I was like just giving an interview, and the reporter asked me, "How long have you training to qualify for the Olympics?" And then I started laughing. I was like, "My whole life." And then the person was like a little bit confused. I was like, "Yeah, like it's not like something that I decided like 6 months ago, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna train for the Olympics." So it's like a committed life.
Yeah.
Right. I think that there is no. We used to say we are. When you are an athlete, you are 24 hours an athlete. You're not just an athlete when you are at practice.
Yeah.
Right. So everything you eat, how much you sleep, where do you go, what are you doing when you're not in the pool? So you have to be a 24-hour athlete to achieve the high things.
That's really good. I do think that sometimes people have they're like, oh, I'm an athlete when I am at practice, and they have that mindset of doing the right things, and then it turns off when they leave practice. And that is a really stark difference between people who are great and people who are average or good. And because it's something that kind of consumes your mind, right? You want to be great. So you're like, oh, this will affect me positively or negatively towards something I really care about. And it's cool to hear you talk about that too, because now you're on the coaching side of things, right? And you're working with a lot of young athletes. And you also do a lot of mindset coaching, right? And work with people. I love seeing your posts go out there. People should follow you on social media, Tatiana's account. And can you talk a little bit about why you started coaching people mentally? Was that something that you felt like you were really strong at as an athlete, something you struggled with and had to work towards to get strong with? Why is that a passion of yours, coaching athletes and helping them mentally?
So I think I was on both sides of the story. And that's why I really like the mentoring that I do with the athletes. So I think at the beginning of my career, I really struggled mentally with the sport. So it was my passion. I love it, but I just didn't know how show up and race. So I had such a hard time doing that. And I felt I was not, and like, I always felt that people were better than me. Really? So that was a big struggle for me to overcome that. And then there was also the part that once things didn't go the way I wanted, I was super disappointed. So it was like the end of the world, like everything was terrible. Like, everything I'm doing, is this really worth it? And all of that. So I was that person at some point, right?
Yeah.
And then with time, and then just kind of continue with the sport. And then I had many coaches that kind of helped me with that too. I started to realize that, first of all, a bad swim or a bad meet is not the end of the world. It's not. There's always the next day. There's the next event, especially like you start a meet, day one, it's like really bad. And they're like, oh my gosh, I have another 3 days to swim. So trying to so I learned how to, first of all, I learned that so this is the story that I'm going to tell you. I remember I was in a meet, it was World Champs. At the very beginning when I started going to World Champs. And I saw all those people over there and I'm like, oh, they're so amazing. They're so fast. They're so good and all of that, right? And then one person told me, what meet are you? I'm like, I'm World Champs. And they're like, and what meet are they? They are also World Champs. Why can't you see yourself on the same level if you are at the same meet?
That's good.
And that made a whole difference for me. It was like, well, I never thought about that. Right?
That's such good advice.
Yeah, I was like, I never thought about that. It's like, actually, yeah, that is true. I am at the same meet as them, right? So yes, of course, in the same meet, there's the people that are here, the people that are here, but you already have like you were like on that part at least, right?
Yeah.
So when I understood that, I started to go to those meets in a very different way. Like my mind was much more like I belong. So the feeling of I belong to this elite level, not because I earned that, I trained for that, right? Yep. It's not like I gained a ticket to go. No, I earned the spot. Yep. Like with all my hard work, with all my discipline, all my commitment, all my determination. So I am at that level, and I am like everyone else here, right? Yeah. So that changed it completely for me. And that's when actually I started to break records, and because I broke the South American, the Brazilian record one time when I was like younger, and it took me 4 years to go a best time again on the 100 freestyle, because I just had that mental block. So when I tell my swimmers, sometimes they're complaining because they didn't drop a time in one season, and I tell them I didn't drop my time in the 100 freestyle for 4 years. And then they were like, wow. You know. Yeah. So I think it's just like having that, so going through all those stages, like I don't believe that I can do this, to I belong to this, and then now I'm doing this. So going through all of that, that's why I really like the mentoring, because I kind of understand a lot of the things that the swimmers will tell me, and then, okay, how can we do and how can we shift that? Yeah. It takes time, it's a process, right? But to me, it's super rewarding, because I've been there, and it's not fun. When you were in that box, and you see like, you feel like I can't move. And then suddenly it's like literally like the doors open and you suddenly can go and move. And then there's a whole new world that you can explore just because of your mindset. Yeah. So that to me is fantastic.
Being able to get out of your own way to show yourself what you're capable of. I in swimming, since I didn't swim myself, like I don't know that feeling of breaking through from 4 years of like broke a national record, a South American record, in 4 years of work. But like I do know that during those 4 years, it probably shaped you into one of the fiercest, like strongest competitors, because it will be so easy to give up at any point in time. After a year, you're like, okay, 2 years, it's like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. 3 years, 4 years, but you never gave up. And then you did some more crazy things. And that's a level of grit, a level of endurance, a level of persistence that most people don't have. And what was it that got you through that time? Because you did break through and came out on the other side, but what got you through that when you were just like, should I, maybe even questioning if you should continue in the sport? I don't know what was going through your mind, but what got you through that time?
Well, what I think I always go back to the passion, Eric. I think, I think the passion to me is like, because at some point, it's like you said, at some point, I was just like, okay, it's the anniversary of my best time, right? It was like ridiculous, but that was the truth. So at some point, I was like, you know what? If that was the and the 100 free was my main event, right? And it was ridiculous. I was dropping time in the 200 and the 50, and my 100 was stuck. I was like, how that is possible? Right now. So I think I was like, at some point, I remember thinking, you know what? If this is my limit, that's okay. This is my limit. But I enjoy this. And at that point, I was a pro. So I was being paid to swim, right? That was like my job. And I was like, I love to do this. So I'll just drop times in other events, I think. Yeah. Right? And that's it. And then, but you see how things are. Do you know when I dropped my time? I dropped my time at Olympic trials.
Wow.
And that qualified me for my first Olympic. So I came from 4 years not dropping time. And then I had a serious injury the year of the Olympics, 2004.
Wow.
It took me out of the pool for 3 weeks, I think. And then I was like, okay, now that's it. I haven't been dropping time forever. Now I had this injury. I cried every single day when I was injured. I was going to the pool and doing kick work, and going to the gym and doing leg work because I couldn't actually swim. And I remember I was crying like every single day. And I was like, not because of like, I'm not going to the Olympics. That was not even the point. It's like, I can't do what I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Somehow my body managed when I came back. I had an amazing coach at the time, Coach Alberto Silva. He's now in Portugal coaching over there. He was at the World Champs, and he made the first World Champion for Portugal. The guy who won the 100 fly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So he was an amazing coach at the time. I was with him for a long time. And then when I came back, I had some kind of special stuff to do. But he told me one thing before the Olympic trials that made the whole difference in my life too. He said, Tati, we have this expression in Portuguese that is like, you're killing a lion per day, right? Okay. So you're killing a lion per day. That's how you're surviving. You have to kill a lion per day to survive. And then he came to me, I think it was like the week before we traveled to the Olympic trials. And he said, since like for a long time, you have been killing a lion per day. With your injury, even more. The lions are more like robust. And then he was like, at the meet, you're just going to kill another. It's like, again, it's the same. You're just going to keep killing one lion per day. And at the time, it made so much sense to me. And I was like, so I've been struggling all of this. And then I have the injury on top of this. But I'm back. When you have that feeling of, I couldn't swim at all, and now I can swim. And I'm like, so you know what? I'm just going to enjoy. I'm going to try to have fun because finally I can swim again. And I was feeling really good after my injury and coming back. And then I have that, okay, so I'm just going to kill one lion per day. And that's what I did at trials. And then I dropped my time. And then it's not like I had like a second drop. No, I dropped like 0.20 or something like that. And then I qualified for the relay only. So I qualified for the 400 free relay, which I was like in heaven. I was super excited, right? I was like super happy coming from all of that. And then I think that was the beginning of a new swimming phase for me. So I have two. I think one was that. The other one was 2007. That's when I broke the Brazilian American record again in 2007. And then after that, I broke the record for like 7 times.
That's insane. Wow.
But so it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. Like you said, it was like 4 years that I was like, lots of times I was like, why am I still doing this? And then I remember, wow, this is what I like to do. If I can go faster than that, I'll just do this, right?
That's a great story. Breaking the end of it is so funny to me because you're like, and then I broke the record 7 times. And it's like, that was like 2 seconds of your entire story of like, that wasn't even the memorable part. The memorable part was everything that shaped you and all the things that you did to get there. And I just think that's such a good lesson for kids and athletes, adults, pro athletes, anywhere. Like, focus on the process. I love the kill the one lion a day. I've never heard that before. Just do your job and stay focused, and then continue to have that passion, that love for the water, the love for the sport. And you never know what can happen. But yeah, people will see if they go like online and look, at the history of Tatiana, they're going to look at all the different records broken, and they're going to just be like in awe, but they're not going to know all the stuff that you just shared unless they listen to this podcast, of course. And that's where the championship medal is made, like in that furnace when things are challenging, when you have so much pressure on you, when things are not going your way. And that's it's just so cool to hear. It's inspiring to hear. And just to kind of wrap up here, one final question for you. Taking all of those life lessons, all the things that you've learned from the sport, and how you've grown as a person, what's something that you wish people swimming today would believe or like know about themselves? What's like a common thing that you're like, this mindset is really like killing this generation from like loving the sport or being great? And obviously it's broad sweeping. It's not the same for everybody, but But what's something that you see as common that you're like, I wish kids today, if you could just remember this one thing or this one concept, like what would that be that you would want to impart wisdom on some of the younger swimmers?
Well, I think one of the blessings of my generation is that we didn't have cell phones, right? Because we didn't have cell phones. Everything that you want to, like any research or anything you want to do, you take you time to figure it out. It was not everything like, like it's like on like in my hand, I can just like press 3 buttons and then that's it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that because of that, I think like I'm talking by myself, of course, but I think I know that things take time. So you have to be patient. You have to understand that things don't happen from night to day, right? So you're trying to change something or technique. You're not going to change from today to tomorrow. You're going to have to work from that for weeks, months, depending on what you're changing. If it's like a more like structural change on your stroke, that will take a while. You're going to swim slower first, and then you're going to get faster, all of this. So I think now the generation, the kids now, they want everything like now. It has to be now. And if it's not now, I will give up. If it's not now, the effort. But I trained so hard for 6 months. I trained so hard for the long course season, like really from April to July. Right? Yeah. And then I trained so hard for the long course season. I don't understand why I'm not dropping my times or anything like this. And I think because it's like totally like how the world is today, everything is so quick, right? So I really think it was a blessing that I had the opportunity to grow not having this, because literally I had to learn that everything in life takes time, especially your development as an athlete, right? There is a reason the Olympics are every 4 years, besides the financial side of it and the marketing and all of that. Yeah, but like the I don't know, the special things, the big things, they're not all the time. Like it takes time because you need the time to build, you need the time to learn, to improve, to develop. So they don't have the patience for that. And I think this is something they really miss, being patient and understanding that things take time. And it doesn't mean that it didn't happen now. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen in another time, a little bit later. But if you're not patient, you just give up.
Yeah, that's so good. I can't emphasize that enough. Love that. Amen to all of that. Patience is such a virtue that people, it seems like it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter as time goes on, because our society is built for us to get instant gratification. And that is just not how anything meaningful in life works. Not just swimming, but anything meaningful, right? All the stuff that you can get like that, it's not meaningful. Yeah. As fast as you can get it, it can be taken away. But when it takes patience and endurance, those are the things that develop you and that are worth being patient for. So, but Tatiana, thanks so much for sharing all of your wisdom, your story. You're an inspiration to me and to so many of us in the Swim Strong family and to many around the world, I have no doubt. You're doing incredible work at Wave Aquatics. Shout out to Wave and everybody over there. And all the athletes who get to work with you are blessed to do so. And I know that you feel the same way about the athletes and the coaching staff that you get to work with as well. But thank you for taking the time to vocalize all of your experiences and share with the world. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm happy to be here and share a little bit about the story. Thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch a new episode each Monday. You can also check us out on social media at SwimStrong Dryland. If you would like to join the SwimStrong family, visit our website at swimstrongdryland.com.